This man was walking while looking at his phone, completely unaware that Amelia was running around the corner. By the time Asahi realized, it was too late. They locked eyes just before crashing into each other, and they both rolled on the ground for a few moments. Asahi ended up lying on the ground, and Aoi, feeling embarrassed, apologized to him. She then asked if Asahi had seen her secret. In this situation, even if Asahi had seen something, he would have said he didn't. Once Aoi knew Asahi hadn't seen anything, she relaxed. She mentioned that she wasn't dressed well today, and if anyone had seen her, it would have been too embarrassing. Asahi was shocked, but Aoi quickly explained she was just rambling and asked Asahi to pretend he hadn't heard anything. As Aoi realized it was almost time for school, she said goodbye to Asahi. After she left, Asahi noticed a mask on the ground, and he thought it must belong to Aoi. He picked it up and took the subway to school. However, oddly enough, the subway car was completely empty. Asahi didn't think much of it, so he just picked a seat and sat down. In a daze, Asahi heard Amelia's voice, but he didn't pay much attention at first. However, her voice seemed to be getting closer, and that startled him. There were so many empty seats in the car, but Amelia chose to sit next to him. Before Asahi could react, Amelia had already fallen asleep on his shoulder. Asahi suddenly had an ominous feeling. Not only was Amelia sleeping on his shoulder, but she was also leaning against it. He wanted to get up and leave immediately, but then Amelia wrapped her arms around him, and he lost his balance, falling to the floor with her. Amelia, still half asleep, was wondering where her enemy was. Asahi was nearly injured, and he thought about escaping through the subway door. After everything that had happened, Asahi couldn't help but think of the tarot reading from that morning. The fortune teller had mentioned Asahi would experience some exciting encounters, with the lucky words being corner, tram, stairs, robot vacuum, dog, and letter. Now, in front of Asahi were the stairs. He was starting to get scared, but he still walked down them. Just as Asahi mocked the inaccurate reading on TV, Amelia rushed down the stairs in a hurry but slipped and fell. Then, Karen ran toward Asahi and, without listening to his explanation, punched him right in the stomach. At that moment, Asahi had no choice but to believe in the prophecy. To avoid the robot vacuum, Asahi hid in the bushes, waiting for it to leave. But there were things that Asahi couldn't avoid. Just then, Asahi heard Amelia scream behind him. He turned around and saw the robot vacuum. It had broken down, but it was holding Amelia's things. As Asahi picked up the pile of items, Amelia came running and immediately started blaming him, accusing him of tampering with the robot and telling it to steal her important things. No matter how Asahi explained, Amelia wouldn't listen. That's when the robot vacuum had enough. It grabbed Amelia's pants and dragged her away. Now, only the dog was left. Asahi still thought it was a man. After facing so many difficulties, Asahi finally arrived at school, but he was already late. He had no choice but to enter through the back door. As he was climbing halfway up the stairs, he remembered that today was his class change, and he had no idea where his new seat was. Asahi's best friend told him that his seat was in the back row by the window. However, to Asahi's surprise, 4 new students had arrived in class, the girls he had met earlier, and to make matters even stranger, they all sat next to him. Asahi was so scared he couldn't even turn his head. The craziest part was that Amelia was the new homeroom teacher. After they introduced themselves, the teacher noticed Asahi. She asked him to turn around, and Asahi, feeling helpless, decided to make a face to get out of it. He explained to the